and the parachutes were successfully deployed before the crew module landed about a mile away from the pad. This time, though, we will have a booster, and the intent is to fly that booster and that test article to maximum aerodynamic forces to check it at a time where it can really get a full test of what it would be like under the most stressful loads. Ashley, we're looking good so far for the count, right?
That's right.
Just a few seconds now, we're going to get the final launch authorization poll, which is going to happen right now. Let's listen in.
30 seconds and counting. CLC requesting final authorization for launch. All stations report go. LD.
LD go.
Rock.
LDA has issued clear to launch.
Copy that. Check step 76. TC, FTA is go for Pyro Army.
Proceeding.
PCC at the power control console failsafe switch. Verify the following.
Ground ordnance is green.
Check step 78. PCC enabled ground ordnance.
Ground ordnance enabled.
CLC check step 79. DM verify ODM bus voltage enabled. Rock.
ODM voltage enabled. Clear to launch.
Check step 80. PCC verify PLO power is go.
PLO power is go.
Check step 81. Rock.
LDA has issued clear to launch.
Copy that. Check step
Ground
76.
ordnance is green.
And so what we're listening to now is they switch the vehicle from external to internal power and get the flight computer ready?
That's what's happening next. Yes.
Okay. And so everything's going to proceed well with there. We're going to listen in as they get this flight vehicle ready to go.
ODM voltage enabled.
Check step
Ground
80.
ordnance enabled.
PCC verify PLO power is go. DM
PLO
verify
power is
ODM
go.
bus voltage. Check step 81.
ODM voltage enabled.
Check step 80. PCC verify PLO power is go.
What we're listening to now is they switch the
PLO
vehicle from
power is
external
go.
T minus 5 minutes
power
and counting.
and get
PCC
the
switch
flight computer
avionics
ready.
internal power
That's what's
on.
happening next. Yes.
Okay. And so
Avionics
everything's gonna
internal
proceed
power
well
on.
with there.
On
So
my
listen
mark.
as they switch the
3,
vehicle from external to
2,
internal power
1.
and get
Mark.
the flight computer ready.
That's what's
Internal
happening
power
next.
on.
Yes.
Okay.
Check
And so
82.
everything's gonna
PCC
proceed
switch
well with there.
avionics
We're gonna
external
listen
power
in
off.
as they get this flight vehicle ready to go.
External power is off.
Check 83. VC enable flight computer auto sequencer start. 5 minutes and counting. PCC switch avionics internal power on.
Auto sequencer enabled.
Avionics internal power
Check
on.
step 84.
On my mark. 3,
LC, all
Minus 5 minutes
FTA
and
pyros are
counting.
armed.
PCC switch copy that. TC check step 77. And all stations were currently complete through step 84 of the ATV final launch checklist.
3,
Standing by step 85 at T minus 4 minutes.
mark.
All right,
Internal
and
power
so
on,
the
power
count
off.
proceeds. Everything's good to go. We are T minus 4 minutes until launch. Ashley, let's talk about once we hit T0, the expectations for what we'll get in the plus count as it goes up.
So during the plus count, we'll hear the flight test article guidance, navigation, and control operator call out key milestones. We'll listen for the vehicle's altitudes and speeds, and he'll call out when the abort has occurred and the phases of the abort. We'll also hear the test conductor call out the data rebroadcast of the telemetry and the end of the flight test.
All right, and so that's good to know. Also, another expectation that we want to let people know is there, again, not going to be any parachutes on this flight test coming out of the flight test article, which is a mock, it's Orion, but it's a simplified version of it.
That's right.
And so once Orion is released from its LAS, it will come down all the way to the ocean, and we should not see any parachutes because that's not part of the test.
That's right. The only thing that will happen at that point is it'll eject data recorders that are recording data for the mission as backup to the telemetry.
Right, and so it's interesting, the test actually ends before Orion hits the water
That's
out
right.
there in the ocean.
Yep.
Because it's really the data that they want. They want to see 900 sensors or so on board this particular flight test article that will be taking in data, as you said, transmitting it in real time, and then writing it to those EDRs, those electronic data recorders, and then sending them out. We're going to now get back to the count. 2 minutes and 16 seconds to go. Just a few minutes away from this exciting flight test here on the Space Coast. We're going to listen in as the launch conductor continues to work this launch with his crew.
This is the LC, T-minus 2 minutes and counting. VM verified, flight computer auto sequencer started.
Auto sequencer started.
Check 89 BLC, verify T-minus 2 minute limit checks are go.
Limit checks are go.
Check 90 PCC, set arm enable.
Arm enabled.
Check 91 PCC, arm TVA gas generator AD.
AD switch armed.
Check 92 PCC, arm stage 1 ignition SNA.
Just a few minutes away from this exciting
SNA
flight
armed.
test here on the Space Coast.
Check
We'll
step
listen in
93.
as the launch conductor continues.
Step 94 TC, confirm launch timer clock is running.
Launch timer clock is running.
Check 94 BLC, start LCR Dewey.
Dewey started.
Check step 95.
Limit checks are go.
Check 90 PCC, set
AD
arm
switch
enabled.
armed.
Check 92
Arm enabled.
PCC, arm stage 1 ignition. T-minus 1 minute and counting. Gas generator AD.
SNA armed. AD switch armed.
Check 92 PCC, arm stage 4 TC, confirm launch timer clock is running.
Launch timer clock is running.
Check
SNA
94
armed.
BLC. And T-minus 45 seconds of counting. VM verify stage select
Dewey started.
activated.
Proceeding.
Launch timer
Copy
clock
that.
is running.
Launch timer clock is running.
Check 94 BLC. Start LCR Dewey.
Dewey started.
DM is go for launch.
Copy that. Check step 96. T-minus 25 seconds. T-minus 20. 1 minute and counting. T-minus 15. T-minus 45 seconds of counting. VM verify stage select. T-minus 10.
Proceeding.
Copy that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. VLC, Minotaur launch vehicle is carrying the AA-2 Launch Abort System for a full express test.
Seconds, and we'll see the abort.
Abort initiation.
Pyros 1 and 2 discharge both sides.
Bridge for pressure.
Good control. Reorientation. Settling phase. Jettison.
Pyros 3 and 4 discharge both sides.
Script power enabled.
Discharge both sides.
10 seconds, we will see the abort. So there goes the LAS,
Pyros 1 and 2 discharge both
tumbling a bit, Orion coming down.
Started
Everything
data
looking
rebroadcast.
good so far.
Recall there are no parachutes on this test today, so once the data recorders have been deployed and the vehicle is no longer transmitting data, TC will call test complete.
Pyros 3 and 4 discharge both
We're
sides.
looking now at the Orion. That data is being written. We're about to get ejection of those EDRs. It's tumbling a little bit. That was expected.
That's expected.
The LAS
Power enabled.
tumbling a bit. Orion coming down.
Started data
Everything looking
rebroadcast.
good so far.
Recall there are no parachutes on this test today, so once the data
there goes
recorders
the
have been
LAS.
deployed and the vehicle is no longer Transmitting
tumbling a bit.
data.
Orion
TC will
coming
call
down.
test complete.
Started data rebroadcast.
Good so far.
Recall there are no parachutes on this test today, so once the data recorders
Second
have been
rebroadcast.
deployed and
We're
the
about to
vehicle is
get
no
ejection
longer
of those EDRs.
transmitting data, TC
You
will
just
call
heard there, the
test
second
complete.
rebroadcast that continues to write that
Tumbling a
data.
little
That was expected. Now with the Orion, that data is being written. We're about to get ejection of those EDRs. It's tumbling a little bit. That was expected.
As expected.
Now we're awaiting confirmation that the test is complete.
Second rebroadcast.
You just heard there, the second rebroadcast that continues to write that data.
Second rebroadcast.
And it would appear
You just
that
heard
the
there,
test
second
is
rebroadcast that
complete. Continues to write that data.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so Ashley,
Data test complete.
there you go.
Yes,
And
there it is.
there was the official word. And a beautiful shot there from Port Canaveral, where the launch took off, and you can hear the launch conductor congratulating his team. Ashley, what did you think about this test? It looked good from here.
It looked beautiful from here. I think that was excellent. We could
And
not
it
have
would
hoped for a
appear
better kind
that
of
the
day.
test
It's
is
just wonderful.
And here at the MDC,
Yeah.
just
So
behind
Ashley,
us, as
there
the
you
test
go.
was
There-
beginning, and then once
was
the
the
Launch
official
Abort
word.
system
And it
pulled
would
away,
appear
you could start to hear
shot
everyone
there to Port Canaveral,
clapping and cheering
where-
here at the MDC. It must be a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been such a special opportunity to work on this mission that's going to enable our astronauts to go to the moon and beyond. And to be here today and be able to share it with the public with you, it's just, it's wonderful.
Great opportunity for all of us as well. And there you see the crowd out there on the pier that gathered to watch, starting some of them to make their way back off. That's the Jetty Park Pier over there at Port Canaveral. That's a long pier. It looks condensed in this shot, but there are a lot of folks there that gathered to watch this, as I'm sure many people did up along the Space Coast. Want to talk about what's happening next. The test data from this particular launch was broadcast by the flight test article out to receivers that were coming in, and now you'll get that data to be able to look at it. But in case that data doesn't come through, you have a backup system.
Right, so in case there's any kind of dropout in the telemetry, we had a backup system. The ejectable data recorders are these little devices. They would be ejected from the CM, as you saw, well, as we talked about. They have essentially a USB drive that recorded all the data. There is a GPS receiver that's letting it know where it is. Then there's an antenna so it can tell us and the recovery boats, hey, I'm here, come find me. It is then all packaged in this syntactic foam, which is these little micro balloons in an epoxy mixture to keep it buoyant. They have it weighted so that it keeps the antenna up and broadcasting until we can pick it up.
And there's 12 of them that came out, right?
12 in total.
Of the Orion test article. And in fact, on the front of it is a telephone number and an email address.
That's right.
Just in case we're not able to pick them up. But the beacon will be transmitting, and we'll have boats out there that will be looking for these to pick all 12 of them up. It's possible one might elude the crew out there, and if it does, and you find it, give us a call. We'd like to have it. So that's a neat little backup system that was put in here. And I think you were telling me there's a shotgun, something that's equivalent of a shotgun shell that shoots it out.
That's right. Yeah.
And so we got confirmation that those were ejected from the test article as it was falling back down. Now the work begins to go and collect those. As far as the Orion crew capsule, the test article is considered, as we look out at a view there out eastward into the Atlantic Ocean, that impacted the water at roughly 300 miles per hour. As we mentioned many times, there was no intent to use parachutes on this particular test article because it was intended to sink. How did they make it so that it would go down instead of having parts floating?
So the vehicle will break up on impact, and if there are any concerns with any floating debris or pieces that do not sink immediately, the vessels that are out collecting the data recorders will make note of that, and either they will pick them up or other vessels will go out to either sink or pick them up so that they are not a hazard.
And the crews are likely taking off from right there in Port Canaveral to go and pick up those EDRs that are out in the water right now. And as she said with the Orion, it was intended to break up. It's an aluminum structure.
That's right.
And
for the test article.
you were showing me some engineering diagrams that shows how it breaks up intentionally, and it goes straight down and becomes a reef.
It does.
And there's no harm to the environment in any of this. They researched that as well.
That's right.
To make sure that that would not happen. Now that the flight test is complete, we will have a briefing to go over some of the preliminary data that was gathered during this flight test, and that will be given by the NASA launch teams. We expect Mark Kirsich will be part of that. We also expect him to come by here at the broadcast booth and stop by and talk to us about his thoughts on the completion of the test and how it performed through his eyes. He is the overall program manager for Orion, which, as he has said, and if you were watching earlier in our show, it is a busy time for Orion. We have several capsules that are getting ready for the next few missions, Artemis 1 and beyond. And so those are in preparation, and this is another step towards getting us closer to that goal of landing the first woman and the next man on the moon. And so as that continues, we will continue here with our broadcast. We're looking eastward out at Launch Complex 46, and it is a beautiful morning. The Orion team conducted a successful test of their flight abort system, the launch abort system, which in the case of an emergency with the rocket could successfully pull Orion off the top of the most powerful rocket in the world, SLS. That's important because in order to move off of the top of the most powerful rocket in the world, you've got to have one powerful launch abort system. That's indeed what was tested today. It appears that it was a successful test, and to confirm that, we have now here at Hangar AE in our studio booth, Mark Kirsich, Orion Program Manager. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on a successful test.
Yeah, thank you, Daryl. Good morning. Yeah, everything looked really good. We're of course just looking at the data, quick look data, but the abort motor fired, the attitude control motor, the pressures were fine. We saw the pinholes moving, the reorientation, all the GNC data looked good. So it'll take us a little bit while, but by all first accounts, it was a perfect test.
That's awesome. Let's take a look at a replay of the launch, if you will, and kind of talk us through what you saw as you were sitting on console. You did here since 1 in the morning, as your entire team has, doing the 6-hour plus countdown. And here we have it.
And the first thing is the weather, the skies. You know, we've been here for a couple weeks simming and training, and we've never seen blue sky. So the weather was beautiful today. There's the SR-118 motor kicking in.
Smooth liftoff.
Very smooth.
And you weighted that down because, as Jenny was telling us yesterday, it's a pretty sporty rocket.
Yeah, it would have gone too fast. We had to add about 100,000 pounds of ballast. So the booster targets a certain dynamic pressure and a certain speed for us to initiate abort. And again, the quick look data looks like they hit the target right on. It was a little bit over 52-ish seconds or so. Nominal is supposed to be 55. We'll get the data to tell us exactly when.
There's a close-up shot, and just about getting ready to see that launch abort system pull Orion away.
Correct, the big motor, 400,000 pounds of thrust is going to, there it goes. 400,000 pounds of thrust. And now you're going to start to see the attitude control motor at the top is going to start to pitch the vehicle over.
And as you look at that, it is oriented. There it is, getting that heat shield forward, right?
Yes, exactly. So when the jettison motor fires, the crew module drops out and it's pointed in exactly the right direction. And that was the data point we wanted to see, the conditions, if you will, when the crew module dropped off. And there it was, jettison motor, and here's the crew module descending, just like we planned.
Perfectly. And there you see the launch abort system tumbling away. Orion, the test article, started coming down. No parachutes here, Mark, and there's a reason for that.
Yes, we simplified the test article. We wanted to get this test done as early and as quickly as possible. We're going to use the results from today to inform our planning for the first human flight, Artemis 2. So we wanted to get this test done quickly. We simplified the crew module test article because it was all about the launch abort system today.
And it performed pretty well.
By all accounts, it was magnificent.
During that point, the EDRs were ejected, and so you've got your preliminary data. You'll be able to go over the broadcast data that was sent to you, but then you've got those EDRs as a backup.
Yep. The team's going to take a couple hours this morning. We'll get quick look data report number 2, and then it'll take a couple of months to go through the detailed data, and we'll look at everything, all of the pressures, the flight trajectories, the internal motor parameters to make sure everything worked just as expected.
And now, you've mentioned this a few times before, where does this take us? Once you've got this successful test under your belt, what are you looking towards now?
Well, we have a total, before we fly humans for the first time on Orion, we have a total of 4 flight tests. 2 abort tests with today. We are done with flight testing the abort system. We flew Exploration Flight Test 1, which was an orbital flight test. The next flight is Artemis 1, a little over a year from now, which will be the Orion crew module returning to the moon.
And that'll be exciting.
Yes.
And Artemis 2, which will put the first woman and the next man on the moon.
Yes, a really great step forward today for the team.
Congratulations again, Mark, to you and your team. Great job. It was fun to watch for all of us here, both in the NDC at the Hangar AE, as well as out there along the Space Coast. I'm sure we all enjoyed seeing not only the show, but also knowing that it was a success.
Yeah, thanks, Darrell. Thanks to the Orion team. Great day today.
Congratulations to all. And that's going to conclude our coverage of Ascent-Abort 2. For Mark Kurasich, Ashley Tarpley, and for all of us here at NASA, thank you for joining us. We now leave you with replays of the flight test from a number of different camera angles. And remember, keep looking up. Which will put the first woman and the next NBC at the Hangar AE, as well as
really great step forward today for the team.
Congratulations again, Mark, to you and your team. Great job. It was fun to watch.
Thanks, Darrell. Thanks to the Orion team. Great day today.
Congratulations to all. And that's going to conclude our coverage of Ascent-Abort 2. Not only the show, but also knowing Ashley Tarpley, and for all of us here at NASA, thank you for joining us. We now leave you with replays. Congratulations to all. And that's going to conclude our coverage of Ascent-Abort 2. Remember, for Mark Kurasich, Ashley Tarpley, and for all of us here at NASA, thank you for joining us. We now leave you with replays of the flight test from a number of different camera angles. And remember, keep looking up.
T-minus 15. T-minus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And this is the LC. Minotaur launch vehicle is carrying the AA2 Launch Abort System for a full stress test.
Seconds, we will see the abort.
Pyros 1 and 2 discharge both sides.
Switching for pressure.
Reorientation. Settling phase. Jettison. Pyros 3 and 4 discharge both sides. Pyros 1 and 2 discharge both sides.
Switching for pressure.
10 seconds, we will see the abort.
Abort initiation. Pyros 1 and 2 discharge both sides.
PM is go for launch.
Copy that. Check step 96. T-minus 25 seconds. T-minus 20.
Pyros 3 and 4, discharge
T-minus
both
15.
sides.
T-minus 10.
Pyros 3 and
5,
discharge both
4,
sides.
3, 2, 1, ignition. And this is the LC Minotaur launch vehicle is carrying the AA2 Launch Abort System for a full stress test. Launch vehicle is carrying the AA2
Mach
Launch
1.
Abort System. Ignition.
Mach 1.1.
Okay, in about 10 seconds, we will see the abort.
Abort initiation.
Pyros 1 and 2, discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control. Reorientation. Mach 1. Settling phase. 15,000 feet. Jettison.
Okay, in about 10 seconds.
Pyros 3 and 4, discharge both sides.
Script power
Pyros 1 and
enabled.
2, discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control.
Okay, in about 10 seconds, we will see the abort.
Abort initiation.
Pyros 1 and 2, discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control.
PM is go for launch.
Copy that. Check step 96.
Reorientation.
T-minus 25 seconds.
Pyros 3 and 4, discharge both
T-minus
sides.
20.
Script power phase.
T-minus 15.
Jettison.
Pyros 3 and
T-minus
4,
10.
discharge both sides.
Script power enabled.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And this is the LC Minotaur launch vehicle is carrying the AA2 Launch Abort System for a full stress test. 15, 25, 10, 20. 5, 15, 3, 2,
10,000 feet.
1, ignition, 10. And the LC
15,000 feet.
5 launch vehicle is carrying the AA2
Mach
Launch
1.
Abort System for a ignition stress test.
Mach 1.1.
And this is the LC Minotaur launch vehicle.
Okay, in about
carrying
10 seconds,
AA2
we will see the abort.
Launch Abort System for
Abort initiation.
stress test.
Pyros 1 and 2, discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control. 10,000 feet. Reorientation. Mach 1. Settling phase. 15,000 feet. Jettison.
Okay, in about 10 seconds.
Pyros 3 and 4, discharge both sides.
Abort initiation. Script power
Pyros 1 and 2,
1.1.
discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control.
Okay, in about 10 seconds, we will see the abort.
Abort initiation.
Pyros 1 and 2, discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control.
Go for launch.
Copy that. Check step 96.
Reorientation.
T-minus